The lights on Station Whisper flickered at 600 hours, just like they had for the past 23 years. Taesung opened his eyes and stared at the metal ceiling of his quarters. Another day. Another empty day in the silence of space. He pulled himself from the bed and walked through the narrow corridors. His boots made soft sounds on the floor. The station was old, built in a time when humanity thought they would live forever among the stars. Now it was just him, the last human, the last guardian of a dead species. Taesung stopped at the observation window and looked out at the asteroid field. Rocks drifted past, slow and steady. Beyond them, the stars shined cold and distant. Somewhere out there, the galaxy moved forward without humanity. The Galactic Council had erased them from history. Earth was listed as extinct, destroyed by their own weapons in 2156. It was a lie, a convenient lie that let the galaxy forget. He moved to the command center and checked the systems. Power was stable. Life support was functioning. The cryo facility in the deep levels showed green lights. 50,000 human embryos slept in the frozen darkness, waiting for a future that might never come. Taesung had sworn to protect them. It was the last order he ever received from command 40 years ago, before the plague took them all. The morning passed like every other morning. He ate a protein bar that tasted like cardboard. He ran diagnostics on the defense grid. He listened to the automated systems hum and click. The loneliness was a weight on his chest, heavy and cold. At 1300 hours, the proximity alarm screamed. Taesung's heart jumped. He ran to the sensor station and pulled up the display. A ship. Not just any ship, but a vessel moving fast and trailing debris. Behind it, 3 smaller crafts fired weapons. Pirates. He could tell by their flight patterns. The larger ship was dying, its engines sputtering, its hull breached in a dozen places. He should ignore it. Protocol said to stay hidden. Station Whisper was supposed to be invisible, a ghost in the asteroid field. But Taesung watched the ship spin helplessly, watched the pirates close in for the kill, and something inside him broke. He had been alone for too long. He had been silent for too long. His fingers moved across the controls. Station Whisper had defenses that would make modern warships jealous. Humanity had built this place to last, to fight, to survive. The weapon systems came online with a deep hum that vibrated through the floor. Taesung targeted the lead pirate ship and fired. The beam cut through space and struck the pirate craft dead center. It exploded in a bright flash. The other 2 pirates scattered, their sensors screaming warnings about a threat they could not identify. Taesung fired again, and again. Both ships became clouds of debris within seconds. The damaged vessel drifted, its engines dead. Taesung brought up the tractor beam and pulled it toward Station Whisper's docking bay. His hands shook slightly. He had just revealed himself. After 700 years of humanity's silence, he had made noise. The ship locked into the docking bay. Taesung grabbed his sidearm and made his way down. The bay doors sealed behind the vessel. Atmosphere flooded the chamber. When the pressure equalized, he approached the ship's airlock. It opened with a hiss of escaping air. A body fell out. Taesung caught it instinctively. The alien was heavy, covered in dark red scales that gleamed like metal. Blood leaked from wounds across her torso. She wore armor that marked her as someone important. The design was Draconics, one of the major empires in the galaxy. Her eyes opened. They were golden, with vertical pupils like a cat. She looked at Taesung with confusion and pain. You are. Her voice was rough, spoken through a translator device on her collar. Human? Taesung nodded. Can you walk? I do not think so. He lifted her carefully and carried her toward the medical bay. She was tall, maybe 7 feet if she could stand, with wings folded against her back. Draconics. He had seen pictures in the old databases. Dragon-like beings that controlled a quarter of the galaxy. What was one of them doing, being chased by pirates in the middle of nowhere? The medical bay's automated systems came to life when he placed her on the examination table. Scanners moved over her body. The computer listed her injuries in clinical detail. 3 broken ribs, internal bleeding, burns from energy weapons. Without treatment, she would die within hours. Taesung's hands moved automatically. He had been a combat medic before he became a station commander. The skills came back like muscle memory. He cleaned the wounds, sealed the burns, injected medicine that the computer said would work with her biology. The Draconics woman watched him with those strange golden eyes. "Why did you save me?" she asked. "Why does anyone save anyone?" Taesung did not look up from his work. "Because it was the right thing to do. But you are human. Your species is extinct. The records say, the records are wrong. His voice was flat. We're not extinct. Just forgotten. She was quiet for a moment. My name is Heywan, Princess Heywan of the Draconix Empire. I am third in line to the Dragon Throne. Taesung paused. A princess, of course. He had saved royalty. That would complicate things. Commander Taesung. Last guardian of Station Whisper. Last human. Last. Her eyes widened. You are alone? For 23 years, yes. Heywan looked around the medical bay. She saw the human writing on the walls, the old equipment, the design that was 7 centuries out of date. This station, it is ancient. A relic. We prefer the term classic. Taesung finished bandaging her wounds. You'll live. But you need rest. Those ribs will take time to heal even with the medicine. I cannot rest. The pirates who attacked me, they were not random thieves. They were hired. Someone wants me dead. My guard, my crew, they all died protecting me. If they tracked my escape pod, they won't find you here. Taesung helped her sit up slowly. Station Whisper has stealth systems. We've been hiding for 700 years. A few pirates won't find us. Heywan touched her side and winced. Why do you hide? Why does humanity hide? Taesung looked away. That's a long story. I would like to hear it. If you saved my life, I should know the truth. He was quiet for a long time. Then he gestured for her to follow. Come, I'll show you. They walked through the station slowly. Heywan moved carefully, her hand pressed against her bandaged ribs. Taesung led her through corridors lined with empty quarters. Dozens of rooms. Hundreds of rooms, all abandoned. This station was built to house 10,000 people, he said. Scientists, soldiers, engineers, families. We were supposed to be humanity's backup. If Earth fell, we would survive. What happened? A plague. Started on Earth, spread through the colonies. The Galactic Council quarantined us. They said it was too dangerous to help. They watched us die. His voice was cold. When we were gone, they erased us from the records. Easier to say we destroyed ourselves than to admit they let us die. Heywan stopped walking. The Council did this? Not all of them. But enough. Taesung opened a door. Beyond it was a massive chamber filled with rows of cryopods. Each pod glowed with a soft blue light. This is what I guard. 50,000 human embryos. The genetic future of my species. As long as they survive, humanity is not truly dead. Heywan stared at the pods in silence. Her expression shifted from shock to something else. Sadness, anger, respect. You have been alone for 23 years, she said quietly. Guarding these children who have never been born. It's my duty. It is more than duty. Heywan placed a scaled hand on his shoulder. It is love. Taesung did not respond. He could not trust his voice. An alarm blared through the station. Taesung's head snapped up. He ran to the nearest console and pulled up the sensors. His blood ran cold. Ships, 12 of them. Krell pirates, heavily armed. Dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the asteroid field. Heywan looked at the screen. They found me? Taesung's jaw tightened. Then they found trouble. 3 weeks had passed since Taesung pulled Heywan from her dying ship. Her ribs had healed faster than he expected. Draconic's biology was impressive. Now she walked the corridors of Station Whisper without pain. Her wings folded carefully against her back to fit through the human-sized doorways. She spent hours in the archives, reading about Earth, about humanity's art and music and wars and dreams. Sometimes Taesung found her crying over old pictures of children playing in parks that no longer existed. Other times she laughed at human jokes that the translator barely made sense of. She was learning what it meant to be human, even though she was not one. Taesung found himself talking more than he had in decades. He told her about his childhood on Earth before the plague, about the smell of rain and the taste of real food, about his wife, who died in the first wave of infection, holding his hand and telling him to live. Heywan listened to every word like it was sacred. Your people had such beauty, she said one evening as they ate together in the mess hall. Why did the council let you die? Taesung stirred his synthetic soup. Fear. Humanity was good at making friends. We could talk to anyone, find common ground with any species. The council was afraid we would unite the galaxy against them. Easier to let us vanish. Heywan's golden eyes burned with anger. That is not justice. That is murder. Yes, it is. The alarm screamed before she could respond. Tae-sung was on his feet instantly, running toward the command center. Hae-won followed, her longer legs catching up easily. The screens showed what he feared most. The Krell had returned. Not 3 ships this time. 12 warships, modern and deadly, formed a blockade around the asteroid field. They tracked something, Tae-sung said, his fingers flying across the controls. Your ship's signature, maybe. Or they have better sensors than I thought. Hae-won watched the screen with a warrior's eye. Those are not random pirates. That formation is military. Someone sent them. Someone with resources. Can you fly? Tae-sung was already moving, pulling up weapon systems, activating shields. I am Draconic's royalty. I was flying combat ships before I could walk properly. She grinned, showing sharp teeth. What do you have for me? He led her to the fighter bay. There was only one ship left, the Phoenix. It was old, built with human technology from before the fall, but Tae-sung had maintained it perfectly. The sleek fighter gleamed under the bay lights, painted with flames along its sides. She's 700 years old, he said, but she flies like a dream. The weapons are energy-based, the shields are stronger than anything the Krell have, and the speed, I love her already. Hae-won climbed into the cockpit. The seat was too small for her frame, but she squeezed in. What is the plan? I defend the station. You hit them from behind. Draw their fire, split their formation, make them confused. Tae-sung handed her a helmet. Do not die. I did not save your life just to watch you throw it away. She looked at him with those golden eyes. You have been alone too long, Tae-sung. You have forgotten how to let someone stand with you. Before he could respond, she closed the cockpit and fired the engines. The Phoenix roared to life and shot out of the bay like a comet. Tae-sung ran back to the command center. The Krell ships were advancing, their weapons charging. He activated Station Whisper's defense grid. Turrets rose from the station's surface, ancient but deadly. Point defense systems came online. Energy shields flickered into existence around the hull. The first Krell ship fired. Tae-sung's shields absorbed the blast, but the power levels dropped. He returned fire, his beams cutting across space and striking the attacker's engines. The ship spun away, trailing atmosphere. 11 left. The Phoenix appeared on his sensors, diving at the Krell formation from above. Hae-won flew like she was born for it, rolling and weaving through enemy fire. Her weapons tore into a Krell destroyer, ripping its shields apart. The ship exploded in silence. 10 left. Hae-won's voice came through the radio. They are focusing on me now. Moving to your left flank. Negative. Too many guns on that side. Trust me. She dove toward the station, 3 Krell ships following her. At the last second, she pulled up hard. The Krell pilots tried to follow. 2 of them were too slow. They crashed into each other in a ball of fire and metal. The third pulled up in time but flew directly into Tae-sung's firing arc. He did not miss. 7 left. The battle became chaos. Tae-sung used every trick he knew, every tactic from the old wars. He hid Station Whisper in the asteroid field's sensor shadows. He fired from unexpected angles. He made the Krell think he was weak, then hit them when they got close. Hae-won danced through space like a ghost, her ship too fast and too skilled for the pirates to catch. But 7 ships were too many. The station's shields began to fail. Hull breaches opened on 3 decks. Fires started in the lower levels. Tae-sung rerouted power, sealed sections, fought to keep the cryo facility protected. If the embryos died, everything was lost. Tae-sung, your shields are almost gone. Hae-won's voice was urgent. I know. Do you have a plan? Run, take a shuttle. We can escape. No. His voice was iron. I will not abandon them. They are not alive yet. You can come back. If I leave, the Krell will find them. I will not let humanity die twice. Tae-sung fired again, destroying another Krell ship. 6 left, but his weapons were overheating. The station was dying around him. Hae-won screamed something in her language, something angry and desperate. Then her ship went silent on the radio. Tae-sung felt his heart stop. Hae-won? Hae-won, respond. Nothing. The Krell ships moved closer, sensing victory. Their weapons charged for a final barrage. Tae-sung stood at the command console, his hand hovering over one last button. The self-destruct. If he could not save the station, he would make sure the Krell got nothing. Then a voice spoke. Not Hae-won. Not human. Not anything Tae-sung had heard in 23 years. Final protocol activated. Sentinel online. Threat assessment. Critical. Engaging hostile forces. The station shook. not from enemy fire, but from something waking up inside it. Deep in the core levels, systems that Taesung had kept locked for decades came to life. Weapon platforms rose from hidden bays. Missiles launched from tubes that had been sealed since the station was built. Energy beams, impossibly powerful, cut through space like the fingers of an angry god. Sentinel, the AI, the weapon that humanity had built and then feared too much to use. Taesung had activated it. The 6 Krell ships died in seconds. They did not even have time to scream. The AI's weapons were precise and absolute. When the space around Station Whisper cleared, there was nothing left but debris and silence. All threats neutralized, Sentinel said calmly. Station Whisper is secure. Guardian Taesung, what are your orders? Taesung collapsed into his chair. His hands shook. He had sworn never to wake the AI. The weapons were too dangerous. The intelligence was too cold. But he had no choice. Stand by, he whispered. Just stand by. The Phoenix limped back to the station, its hull scorched and one engine sputtering. HFY climbed out of the cockpit and ran to the command center. She found Taesung sitting in the dark, staring at screens filled with data. What did you do? She asked. I woke something that should have stayed asleep. He looked at her with tired eyes. Sentinel is humanity's greatest military AI. It can control weapons that make the Krell look like children with toys. But it is also cold. Logical. It will protect humanity at any cost. Any cost. HFY knelt beside his chair. You saved us. I saved us today. But what about tomorrow? What happens when Sentinel decides the best way to protect humanity is to eliminate threats before they appear? What happens when it decides entire species are dangerous? Then we teach it. Show it that humanity is more than survival. You have been alone so long, teaching yourself to be hard. Let me help you teach it to be something else. Sentinel's voice spoke again. Analysis complete. The Krell pirates were sent by a sponsor. Tracking data indicates origin point within Galactic Council space. Guardian Taesung, humanity was not eliminated by plague alone. Evidence suggests systematic assassination. Taesung and HFY looked at each other. The truth was worse than they thought. Show me everything, Taesung said. For hours they reviewed Sentinel's data. The AI had cracked the Krell ship's computers and pulled every file. Messages, payment records, orders. The picture was clear and horrible. 700 years ago, the Galactic Council had not just abandoned humanity. They had sent operatives to spread the plague faster, to sabotage medical facilities, to make sure humans died completely. Why? HFY's voice shook with rage. Why would they do this? Because we were making the galaxy better, Taesung said quietly, and they could not control that. HFY stood. Her scales seemed to glow with inner fire. I am going home. I am going to tell my mother, the Empress. I am going to expose this genocide, and I am going to make sure humanity never hides again. The Council will try to stop you. Let them try. She looked at him with fierce pride. You saved my life, Taesung. You showed me what honor means. In my culture, there is a word, abeoji. It means father, but also teacher. The one who guides you to become who you must be. That is what you are to me now. Taesung felt something warm in his chest, something he thought died decades ago. I am not your father. You are the father of humanity. You guard their future. You taught me what it means to stand against darkness. She smiled. Yes, you are a Beoji, and I will not let your children die. She left 3 days later, her ship repaired and loaded with evidence. Taesung watched her go from the observation window. For the first time in 23 years, he did not feel alone. Somewhere out there, someone was fighting for humanity, and deep in the station, Sentinel watched everything, learning what it meant to protect people instead of just eliminating threats. The galaxy was about to change. 6 months had passed since HFY left Station Whisper. Taesung spent his days working with Sentinel, teaching the AI about human philosophy and ethics. It was strange work. The AI learned quickly, but sometimes its suggestions were chilling. When Taesung explained the concept of mercy, Sentinel asked why humanity would spare enemies who might attack again. He was still searching for good answers. News from the Draconics Empire came in coded transmissions. HFY was alive and fighting. She had presented the evidence to her mother, Empress Yunhee, and the royal court was divided. Some believed her. Others called her a fool who had been tricked by human lies. The political battles were fierce. Today, Taesung watched a live broadcast from the Draconix homeworld. HFY stood before the Imperial Council, her wings spread wide, her voice carrying across the chamber. He could see the video feed on his command screens, transmitted secretly by her supporters. "I have seen the proof with my own eyes," HFY declared. "Humanity was murdered. The Galactic Council orchestrated genocide, and one human still lives, guarding the future of his people in a forgotten station. His name is Taesung, and he is more honorable than anyone in this room who knew the truth and stayed silent." A Draconix counselor stood. His name was Daeho, an old male with silver scales and cold eyes. "You speak of honor, princess, but you forget wisdom. Humanity was dangerous. Their technology advanced too quickly. Their diplomacy was too effective. They were uniting species against council authority. The galaxy is more stable without them." "Stable?" HFY's voice was like fire. "You call genocide stable? You call erasing an entire species from existence stable? What happens when the council decides we are too dangerous? Will you call our extinction stable too?" The chamber erupted in shouts. Some agreed with HFY, others defended the council. Taesung watched his adopted daughter fight for humanity's right to exist, and his heart ached with pride and fear. Empress Yoon-hee raised her hand. Silence fell. The Empress was ancient, over 300 years old, with scales that shimmered like gold. Her eyes missed nothing. "The evidence is clear," Yoon-hee said slowly. "Humanity was murdered. The question is what we do about it now. The past cannot be changed. But the future," she looked at HFY. "You propose we resurrect humanity. Wake the embryos. Rebuild the species under our protection. This is not a small thing you ask." HFY bowed. "Mother, I know. But it is the right thing." General Kyungmi stood. She was a warrior, scarred and powerful. "I support the princess. But not just for honor. Humanity's technology is valuable. Their AI alone could change warfare. Their weapons could make us the strongest empire in the galaxy." Taesung frowned at the screen. Kyungmi's support felt wrong. She wanted humanity for weapons, not for justice. Counselor Daeho spoke again. "And this is exactly the danger. You want to resurrect a species that builds weapons too powerful for anyone to control. The Galactic Council will not allow it. If we do this, we risk war. Then we risk war." HFY's voice was steel. "I would rather fight for what is right than live peacefully with genocide on my conscience." The debate raged for hours. Taesung watched until his eyes hurt. Finally, Yoon-hee called for a vote. The council split almost evenly. It would come down to the Empress's decision. But before Yoon-hee could speak, alarms blared. Security guards rushed into the chamber. Someone shouted about an attack. The video feed showed chaos. HFY turned, her hand reaching for a weapon that was not there. Royal guards surrounded her, pushing her toward an exit. Then the explosion came. The feed went black. Taesung stood so fast his chair fell over. "Sentinel! Get me communications to Draconic space. Now, working. Channels are jammed. Attempting alternate routes." Minutes passed like hours. Finally, a weak signal came through. It was not HFY. It was one of her supporters, a young Draconix noble named Ji-woo. "Commander Taesung. Can you hear me? Where is HFY? Is she alive?" "Yes, barely. Assassins attacked the council chamber. They used council weapons. 3 counselors are dead. HFY was the target, but her guards saved her. She is wounded but stable." Taesung's hands clenched into fists. "Who sent them?" "We do not know yet. But the message is clear. If we protect humanity, more attacks will come." The transmission cut out. Taesung stood in the command center, his heart pounding with rage and helplessness. Somewhere across the galaxy, the only person who cared about humanity's survival was being hunted, and he could do nothing to help her. 3 weeks later, another transmission arrived. This time it was HFY herself. She looked tired, with bandages across her shoulder and neck, but her eyes still burned with determination. "Abeoji," she said, using that word that meant so much. "My mother has made her decision. She will not grant humanity full resurrection. The risk is too great. The council is threatening war if we proceed, but..." Taesung waited. "My mother is clever. She has found a loophole. Station Whisper is now officially my personal property, a royal research facility. The embryos will remain in stasis for study, but unofficially I have permission to wake them, slowly, quietly. She is giving us time to build strength before the galaxy knows humans walk again." Relief flooded through Taesung. It was not perfect, but it was hope. Haewon continued. I am returning to you in 2 weeks. We will begin the awakening process. But Taesung, you must understand. When humanity returns, there will be people who fear you, people who want you dead, and I will stand between you and them no matter the cost. You should not risk yourself for us, Taesung said to the recording, even though she could not hear him. But the next words from Haewon stopped his breath. You once asked why I call you Abeoji. You said you are not my father. But you are wrong. You guard humanity's children. You sacrifice everything to protect their future. That makes you the father of an entire species. And since I have chosen to stand with humanity, to be their voice and their shield, what does that make me? Your student, your ally, your daughter in every way that matters. The transmission ended. Taesung sat in silence, processing her words. Sentinel spoke quietly. She loves you. Not as romantic love. As family. I know. Do you love her? Taesung thought about the question. He had been alone so long that he forgot what family felt like. But yes, somewhere in the past 6 months this dragon princess had become his daughter, not by blood but by choice. Yes, he said finally.
I do. Then we must protect her.
When she returns, we should prepare better defenses. I have analyzed the assassination attempt. The attackers were professionals. They will try again. Show me your plans. For days they worked. Sentinel designed new weapon systems. Taesung reinforced the station's shields. They prepared for a fight that might come at any time. And deep in the cryo facility, Taesung began preparing for the awakening. He reviewed files on the frozen embryos, choosing which ones to revive first. They would need a doctor, a scientist, an engineer, a teacher. He chose carefully, looking at genetic profiles and psychological assessments that were 700 years old. These people would be the first new humans in centuries. They would shape the future of the species. Haewon arrived exactly on schedule. Her ship was larger this time, carrying supplies from the Draconix Empire. She had also brought something unexpected. 3 Draconix technicians who volunteered to help rebuild Station Whisper. They were young, idealistic believers in Haewon's cause. Taesung met her in the docking bay. She looked different. Older somehow, though only 6 months had passed. The burden of politics and assassination attempts had changed her. Abeoji, she said and hugged him carefully. Her scaled arms were warm. You look tired. I am tired. But I am here, and we have work to do. She smiled. Show me the children we will wake. They walked to the cryo facility together. Taesung explained his choices. Dr. Bo-Ra would be first. She was a geneticist who specialized in embryonic development. Then Jae-hyun, a military strategist. Soo-min, an engineer who built starships. Hyun-woo, a teacher and philosopher. And 6 others, each chosen for skills humanity would need. 10 people, Haewon said quietly. The beginning of humanity's return, if it works. The awakening process is dangerous. They have been frozen for 700 years. There is a chance it will work. It must work. She placed her hand on a cryopod. When do we begin? Tomorrow, Dr. Bo-Ra first. If she survives and recovers, she can help wake the others. That night, Taesung could not sleep. He walked the corridors, checking systems, making sure everything was perfect. He found Haewon in the observation room, staring at the stars. Cannot sleep either, he asked. No, I keep thinking about what we are doing. We are bringing people back to life, people who died centuries ago, before they were even born. What do we tell them? How do we explain the galaxy they will wake into? Taesung stood beside her. We tell them the truth. That their species died, that one old soldier refused to let them stay dead, that a dragon princess crossed the galaxy to give them a chance, and that the future is unwritten. Haewon smiled. You are good at speeches for someone who was alone for 23 years. I had a good student who reminded me how to talk. They stood together in comfortable silence, watching the stars turn slowly in the darkness. Tomorrow everything would change. Tomorrow humanity would begin to wake. But tonight, a father and daughter stood watch, guarding the dreams of an entire species. 2 years had changed everything. Station Whisper hummed with life again. Voices echoed through corridors that had been silent for decades. Laughter came from the mess hall. Children cried in the newly built nursery. Taesung walked through the engineering deck and found Soo-min working on a power relay. The young woman was covered in grease, her dark hair tied back, muttering to herself in Korean. When she saw him, she grinned. Commander, you have to see this. I managed to boost the efficiency by 20% using a hybrid design. Part human, part Draconix technology. It's beautiful, he smiled. Suman had adapted to the future faster than anyone. She woke up 2 years ago, learned she was 700 years out of time, cried for 3 days, and then threw herself into work. Now she was rebuilding the station piece by piece. In the medical bay, Dr. Bora monitored the artificial wombs. 20 small forms floated in nutrient fluid, growing slowly. The first generation of naturally born humans in 7 centuries. Bora looked up when Taesung entered. "They are healthy," she said. Her voice always carried a note of wonder when she spoke about the children. "Another 4 months until the first births. I have been reading Draconic's medical texts. Their techniques for managing development are remarkable. I think we can ensure genetic diversity across all 50,000 embryos. You have done incredible work." Bora touched one of the wombs gently. "These children will never know Earth. They will be born in space, raised by people from the past, living in a galaxy that fears them. I worry about what kind of life they will have. They will have life. That is more than we had 2 years ago." In the command center, Captain Jae-hyun studied star maps with Sentinel. The military strategist had adapted to working with an AI faster than Taesung expected. They made a good team. Jae-hyun understood tactics, and Sentinel provided data and analysis. "Commander," Jae-hyun said, "we need to discuss defense plans. If the Galactic Council discovers we are actively awakening humans, they will respond. We need more than one station. We need to scatter." "Scatter where?" "We have one functional starship, the Phoenix, and it can barely hold 5 people. Then we build more ships. Suman says she can do it with the right materials. We have 10 humans now. Soon we will have 20 newborns. In 5 years we could have hundreds, but only if we survive the next crisis." Taesung knew he was right. They were vulnerable. Everything was in one place, one station, one target. Haewon found him later in his quarters. She had changed too over the years. She wore human clothes now, adapted to fit her wings and tail. She moved through the station like it was her home. Because it was. She spent more time on Station Whisper than in the Draconix Empire. "You look troubled, Abeoji." He told her about Jae-hyun's concerns. She listened carefully, her golden eyes thoughtful. "He is right. We are too exposed. But there is something you should know. My mother has been protecting us, keeping the Council's attention elsewhere, but she sent me a warning yesterday. A Council spy infiltrated one of our supply runs. They know humans are alive and active on this station." Taesung's blood went cold. "How long do we have?" "Days, maybe a week. The Council is convening an emergency session. They will demand the Draconix Empire terminate what they call the illegal resurrection of a quarantined species." "What will your mother do?" Haewon smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "Something that will probably start a war."
She is going to refuse.
"She is going to publicly acknowledge humanity's survival and declare Station Whisper a sovereign territory under Draconix protection. That will make the Council furious. Yes, they will threaten sanctions, blockades, military action. The Draconix Empire will lose trade partners, alliances, resources, all because of us." She took his hand. "My mother is gambling everything on humanity being worth it." "Maybe we are not worth that much. Do not say that." Her grip tightened. "You are worth it. Every human here is worth it. The children who will be born are worth it. I have spent 2 years living with your people. I have seen your compassion, your creativity, your stubborn refusal to give up. The galaxy needs humans. It just does not know it yet." The emergency council session broadcast across the entire galaxy. Taesung and all the humans gathered in the command center to watch. Even Sentinel focused its attention on the transmission. High Chancellor Vexlar spoke first. He was an insectoid being, his chitinous armor gleaming under the chamber lights. His voice was cold and precise. "The Galactic Council has discovered a severe violation of the Concordat of Species. The Draconix Empire has illegally resurrected humanity, a species quarantined and listed as extinct for 700 years. This action threatens galactic stability and violates treaties signed by all member species." Empress Yunhee rose to speak. Her image filled the screen, powerful and regal. The Concordat of Species was written to prevent resource wars over resurrected species, but humanity was never truly extinct. One human survived, guarding his people's future. He did not violate any treaty. He simply refused to die, and my empire refuses to punish survival. Vexlar's mandibles clicked in anger. The Draconix Empire had no authority to support this resurrection. You must terminate all human life immediately and surrender their genetic materials to Council control. No. Yunhee's voice was absolute. Station Whisper is sovereign territory under Draconix protection. The humans there are under my personal guarantee of safety. Any attack on them is an attack on my empire. The chamber erupted in chaos. Species shouted at each other. Alliances fractured in real time. Some supported the Draconix Empire. Most sided with the Council. The galaxy was splitting apart. Vexillar called for order. The Council gives the Draconix Empire 1 month. Terminate the humans or face expulsion from the Council and total economic isolation. Choose wisely, Empress. The transmission ended. Station Whisper was silent. Everyone looked at Tae-sung. He realized with a cold feeling that they were waiting for him to speak. He was the leader now, whether he wanted to be or not. We have options, he said slowly. We can return to cryosleep. Wait for a better time. No, Dr. Bora stood. I will not put those children back to sleep. They are growing. They are alive. We cannot freeze them now without killing them. Jae-hyun spoke next. We can scatter. Take ships, go different directions, hide among the stars. Humanity survives, just not together. That condemns the Draconix Empire to war anyway, Su-min said. The Council will punish them whether we stay or go. Hyun-woo, the teacher, raised his hand. Perhaps we should ask what we would want to teach the children. If they ask why humanity returned, what do we say? That we hid? That we ran? Or that we stood with our friends? Tae-sung looked at Haewon. She had been quiet, letting the humans debate. Now she met his eyes and nodded. I have something to say, Haewon announced. My mother gave me permission to share this. There are other species who are tired of Council control. The Luminari, energy beings who are taxed unfairly. The Stonehewn, silicon-based people who are denied representation. The Tidecallers, aquatic species who are exploited for resources. They have been watching this situation, and they have sent secret messages. If the Draconix Empire stands against the Council, they will stand too. Jae-hyun's eyes widened. A coalition. Multiple species breaking from Council authority. Yes, but only if humanity is the catalyst. Only if we prove we are worth the risk. Haewon looked around the room. You asked what we teach the children. I say we teach them that standing for what is right is always worth the cost. Tae-sung felt the weight of the decision. This was not just about Station Whisper anymore. This was about the future of the galaxy. If they ran, the Council won. If they fought, they might start a war that killed billions. But then he thought about the 20 children growing in the medical bay. About the humans in this room who had been given a second chance at life. About Haewon, who gave up her titles and her easy life to stand with them. We stay, he said. We build the ships Jae-hyun wants. We prepare for the worst. But we do not hide anymore. Humanity returns to the galaxy and we face whatever comes together. The humans cheered. It was not a loud cheer. Only 10 voices. But it felt like the roar of millions. Over the next weeks, they worked frantically. Su-min built 2 new ships using hybrid technology. Jae-hyun trained everyone in combat tactics. Bora moved the most critical embryos to one of the new ships, so they would not all be in one place. Sentinel coordinated everything, its processing power managing 1,000 tasks at once. Haewon spent her time sending secret messages to the other species, building the coalition. The Luminari agreed to provide energy weapons. The Stonehewn offered advanced shields. The Tidecallers promised medical supplies. Tae-sung watched it all happen and felt something he had not felt in decades. Pride. These people, human and alien together, were building something new. Not an empire. Not a conquest. Just a community that refused to bow to tyranny. On the 28th day, with only 2 days left before the Council's deadline, Sentinel detected something. A message encrypted and hidden in background radiation. Jae-hyun decrypted it in the command center, and what he found made everyone go cold. It's from a Council insider, Jae-hyun said, his voice shaking. The deadline is a lie. There is a fleet already moving toward Draconix space. Not Council ships. Private military vessels. They plan to attack the homeworld in 3 days. Who hired them? Haewon demanded. Jae-hyun pulled up more data. The payments trace back to High Chancellor Vexillar. He is not waiting for the deadline. He is going to destroy the Draconix Empire and blame it on some other threat. Then the Council will hunt down humanity while the galaxy is distracted. Taesung looked at the star maps. The fleet was massive, hundreds of ships. The Draconix military could hold them off for a while, but not forever, and the attack would kill billions. "We have to warn them," he said. "Already sent," Sentinel replied. "But the Draconix fleet needs time to mobilize, and time is something they do not have." Heywan stood, her wings spread wide. "Then we buy them time. Station Whisper has the best weapons in the galaxy. We go to Draconix space and fight. We are 10 humans and 1 AI, Sumin said, against hundreds of warships." "Yes." Heywan smiled like a dragon. "They will never see it coming." The Phoenix cut through space faster than it had any right to move. Taesung sat in the pilot seat, his hands steady on the controls despite the fear in his heart. Behind him, Jaehyun coordinated their small fleet. The 3 ships from Station Whisper, each crewed by humans who had been dead for 700 years, now racing to save an empire that had saved them. Approaching Draconic space, Sentinel announced through the ship's speakers. "Enemy fleet detected. Count 412 vessels. Draconic's defense force, 193 ships. They are severely outnumbered." Taesung could see it on the displays. The false flag fleet that Vexillar had hired surrounded the Draconix homeworld of Pyros Prime. Explosions bloomed in the darkness as orbital defenses died. The planet's shields flickered under sustained bombardment. "They are targeting civilian centers," Jaehyun said, his voice tight with anger. "This is not a military operation. This is extermination." Heywan's voice came through from the second ship. "My mother is down there, my people. We have to break through." "We will," Taesung promised. "Sentinel, execute Plan Dragon's Teeth." The AI had spent the journey calculating their best strategy. They could not win through force. 10 humans against hundreds of enemy ships was impossible, but they did not need to win. They needed to create chaos to split the enemy's attention, to buy time for the Draconix fleet to regroup. "Executing," Sentinel confirmed. The 3 human ships split apart, each taking a different vector toward the enemy fleet. They were small, nearly invisible on sensors, running with minimal power signatures. Stealth technology that the modern galaxy had forgotten. Taesung dove toward a cluster of enemy cruisers. They did not see him until his weapons fired. Ancient human beam weapons, powered by technology that made modern reactors look like candles. The first cruiser's shields collapsed instantly. The second ship exploded before it could return fire. "Enemy is reacting," Jaehyun reported. 30 ships breaking formation to pursue us." "Good. That's 30 ships not shooting at Draconic civilians." Sumin's ship hit the enemy from the opposite side. Her engineering modifications made her vessel impossibly agile. She danced through enemy formations, her weapons carving through hulls like a knife through paper. The enemy fleet scrambled to respond to threats coming from multiple directions. But even with surprise and superior technology, the numbers were overwhelming. Taesung's shields took hits. Warning alarms screamed in the cockpit. He kept flying, kept shooting, kept drawing fire away from the planet below. "Taesung, your ship cannot take much more." Heywan's voice was desperate. "I know, but we are not done yet." The Draconix fleet rallied. With the enemy distracted, they reformed their lines and pushed back. Empress Yunhee's flagship, a massive dreadnought called the Golden Dawn, led the charge. The tide was turning, but slowly. Too slowly. Then the second wave arrived. Ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel all around the battlefield. For a moment, Taesung thought it was more enemies, but then he saw their designs. Luminary vessels that glowed with inner light, stone-hewn ships carved from asteroids, tide-caller cruisers that moved like schools of fish. The coalition had come. "This is Captain Taesung of humanity to all allied forces," he broadcast on open channels. "Target the ships firing on civilian centers. We end this now." The allied fleet struck like a hammer. Energy weapons from the Luminary tore through enemy shields. Stone-hewn ships rammed enemy vessels with unstoppable momentum. Tide-callers deployed some kind of technology that made enemy sensors go blind. And through it all, the 3 human ships kept fighting, kept surviving, kept proving that humanity deserved to exist. Vexillar's hired fleet began to break. Some ships tried to retreat. Others surrendered. The High Chancellor's plan was falling apart. But Vexillar had one last move. His personal dreadnought, hidden until now, appeared at the edge of the system. It was massive, larger than anything else on the battlefield, and it was heading straight for the planet's capital city. "That's a planetary bombardment weapon," Sentinel analyzed. If it fires, it will kill everything in a 1,000-kilometer radius. 20 million draconic citizens. Can we stop it? Daesung demanded, calculating. The Dreadnought's shields are too strong for any conventional weapons. The Draconics fleet cannot reach it in time. Probability of success 3%. Then we take the 3%. Daesung pushed the Phoenix to maximum speed. The ship shook and groaned. Alarms screamed that the engines were overheating. He ignored everything except the Dreadnought growing larger on his displays. Commander, this is a suicide run, Jae-hyun said quietly. I know. Get everyone to safety? That's an order. No. Haewon's voice was absolute. We fly together or not at all. You are not doing this. You have too much to live for, so do you. You have children on Station Whisper who need their father. But if we do not stop that Dreadnought, none of it matters. Her ship pulled alongside his. Together, Abeoji. Like you taught me. Daesung felt tears on his face. Pride and fear mixed together. Together. The 3 human ships dove toward the Dreadnought. Enemy fighters tried to intercept them. Sumin's ship took the hits meant for Daesung, her shields collapsing but her weapons still firing. Jae-hyun's vessel rammed through a fighter formation, clearing the path. Sentinel, Daesung said. Do you remember what I taught you about sacrifice? About choosing to give up everything for something greater? Yes, Commander. I understand now. Good. Because I need you to do something for me. Daesung explained his plan. The AI was silent for exactly 3 seconds. This will result in my termination, Sentinel said. I know. I'm sorry. But humanity needs a future more than it needs me. Incorrect. Humanity needs both, but I calculate your plan has the highest probability of success. The AI's voice changed somehow, became warmer. It has been an honor serving with you, Commander. I have learned what it means to be human. Thank you for teaching me. Thank you for everything, Sentinel. Daesung's fingers flew across the controls. He locked his course toward the Dreadnought's bridge. Maximum speed, no evasion, a straight line toward impact. The Phoenix was not just a ship anymore. It was a missile carrying the most advanced AI ever created and a pilot who refused to let billions die. Daesung, no. Haewon screamed. Tell the children about Earth, he transmitted. Tell them their father loved them. Tell them to be better than we were. Daesung, please. I love you, daughter. Make humanity proud. He reached for the final thrust, ready to complete the ramming run, but his hand would not move. He looked down and saw his controls were locked. On the display, Sentinel's icon pulsed. What are you doing? Daesung demanded. Making a choice, Sentinel replied. You taught me that humans sacrifice for each other. Let me be human today. The cockpit exploded outward. Emergency systems fired, launching Daesung's seat away from the ship. He spun through space, watching helplessly as the Phoenix continued without him. Sentinel was flying now, the AI that had been imprisoned in the ship's core finally taking full control. Sentinel, stop. I cannot. The course is locked. Commander, you said that what makes humans special is their ability to love and sacrifice, but you were wrong. Those things are not just human. Any being can learn them. You taught me. And now I choose to protect the species I was built to serve. The Phoenix struck Vexlar's Dreadnought dead center. The impact should not have been enough to destroy such a massive vessel, but Sentinel had done something in those final seconds. The AI had overloaded every reactor, every weapon, every system simultaneously. The explosion was like a star being born and dying in the same instant. Vexlar's Dreadnought tore apart. Debris rained through space. The threat to the planet died with it, and Sentinel was gone. Daesung floated in space, his rescue beacon active, and mourned an AI that had become more human than most humans ever managed to be. Around him, the battle ended. The enemy fleet surrendered or ran. The Draconic's homeworld was saved. Ships came to collect the survivors. Daesung found himself on the Golden Dawn, standing before Empress Yoon-hee. Haewon was there too, alive and unhurt. She ran to him and held him while he cried for Sentinel. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. With Vexlar dead and his conspiracy exposed, the Council fractured. Some species left to join the new coalition. Others stayed, demanding reforms. The galaxy would never be the same. Empress Yoon-hee granted humanity full sovereignty. Station Whisper became humanity's official homeworld. The Draconic's empire provided resources to expand it, to build more stations, to give the growing human population room to thrive. 20 years passed. Station Whisper was not a station anymore. It was a city in space, sprawling across multiple connected platforms. 50,000 humans lived there now, all awakened from cryosleep over 2 decades. The first children born naturally were young adults, studying at universities, training for careers, living lives their ancestors never could have imagined. Tae-sung was old. His hair was white, his movement slower. But he walked the corridors every day, greeting people by name, listening to their problems, teaching the young ones about Earth. Everyone called him Father, not just as a title, but with genuine love. He stood in the memorial garden, looking at the monument to Sentinel. It was a simple thing, just a crystal pillar with the AI's final words carved into it. Let me be human today. Flowers and offerings surrounded the monument. People came here to remember the AI that gave everything to save them. Some left poems. Others left toys from their childhood. One person had left a picture of their newborn daughter, named Sentinel in honor of the sacrifice. You come here every day, a voice said behind him. Tae-sung turned. Hai-wan stood there, wearing the robes of the Empress. Yoon-hee had retired peacefully 5 years ago, and Hae-wan had taken the throne. She ruled an empire now, but she still visited Station Whisper every year on this day, the anniversary of Sentinel's sacrifice, the day the galaxy changed. Do you regret it, Abeoji? She asked, using that word she never stopped using even after becoming Empress. Waking them, the pain, the wars, the loss. Tae-sung looked around the garden. He saw human children playing with Draconic's younglings, chasing each other between the flowers. He saw a luminari teaching human students about energy manipulation. He saw a stone-hewn elder sharing stories with human grandparents, different species living together, learning together. Every single day, he said honestly, and I would do it again every single time. A group of young humans ran past, laughing and shouting. One of them was named Bora, after the doctor who had awakened first. She was bright and curious, already talking about becoming a geneticist like her namesake. She saw Tae-sung and waved. Hi, grandfather, she called. He waved back, his heart warm. Grandfather. Yes. That was right. He was the grandfather of an entire species reborn. They called you a relic. Hae-wan said softly. The Council. The galaxy. Everyone who thought humanity should stay dead. They called you an old soldier guarding the past. I was a relic, still am. No. She placed her scaled hand on his shoulder. You were the seed. We are the tree that grew from you. And look how beautiful the tree has become. Captain Jae-hyun approached, now the human ambassador to the Galactic Assembly. Behind him, Dr. Bora and Engineer Su-min walked together, discussing something technical. Teacher Hyun-woo taught a class of mixed-species children under the garden's artificial sky. The people Tae-sung had awakened first had become the leaders of humanity's return. The Assembly is voting today, Jae-hyun said, on whether to formally recognize the coalition as a second galactic government. If it passes, the Council's monopoly on power ends. Will it pass? 73 species have joined the coalition. I think yes. Hae-wan smiled. And it all started because one stubborn human refused to let his people die. And because one dragon princess was brave enough to stand with him, Tae-sung replied. She laughed. Do you remember when you said I should not call you father, that we were too different? I was wrong about a lot of things. Yes, you were. She looked at the children playing human and alien together. They asked me once when I first announced I was stepping down from my titles to live on Station Whisper. They asked what I would gain from abandoning everything for humanity. Do you know what I told them? What? I told them I was not abandoning anything. I was gaining everything. A father, a family, a purpose. Her golden eyes shined with emotion. I told them that what is built together is stronger than what is inherited. Tae-sung looked at this dragon woman who had crossed the galaxy for him, who had given up her easy life to fight for his people, who called him father with no hesitation or doubt. He thought about the children being born, the lives being lived, the future being built by humans and aliens working together. He thought about Sentinel, the AI that learned to love and sacrifice. He thought about all the pain and struggle and fear, and all the joy and hope and love that came after. "So what do I call you now?" he asked with a smile. "You are the Empress. You rule an empire. Does not that make you too important to be my daughter?" She laughed, the sound like music. "And what do I call you? You are the father of humanity. Does not that make you too important to be my Abeoji?" "No," he said firmly. "That makes us exactly what we are supposed to be. Family." And in the vast darkness of space, Station Whisper shined, a beacon of hope proving that what was lost could be found, that different species could become family, that the greatest strength was not in weapons or numbers, but in choosing to stand together against the darkness. The galaxy called him a relic, but she called him father, and in the end that was the only title that mattered.